All right, so let's get ready to do this, man. Let's get ready to do it. They are only with you for a season. So be prepared to let them go in due time. Now, what is due time? Due time is the time that God sees fit to remove them from your life. I want y'all to understand something. A lot of the times we have toxic people in our lives because when God tries to remove them from our lives, we fight to hold on to them. We fight to keep the relationship going. We fight to keep the situation current. We fight to improve a steadily deteriorating situation. We believe that God puts things in our lives in order for us to try to fix and hold on to them when he's trying to remove them out. So a lot of the turmoil in your life, a lot of the strife in our lives, we invite it in because when it's time to let people go, our emotional attachment won't allow us to follow what God is trying to tell us to do. What we have to understand is this. They always say people are in your life for a reason and a season. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm from the South. Winter is my least preferred season. And so I can't wait for winter to go because I love spring. Summer is cool, but I love autumn. So it's like that in your life with people. The people who have your favorite characteristics, people who are including themselves in your process, people who are showing you on a daily basis that they belong, people who are making sure that you know how dedicated they are to you and whatever it is your mission is. Those people are my spring. The spring people, they stay. The winter people, they go. That's why I tell you, men, don't build your relationships off emotional attachment because emotional attachment will hold you into a situation that otherwise doesn't benefit you. It will hold you in a situation that's detrimental to you. Any relationship in your life that's a priority in your life, if any relationship is the priority in your life, it had better be your relationship with God. Because he is the only consistent and constant thing in your life. Whether you're doing good or bad, whether you're doing wrong or right, you know that the Most High is going to be there. He's either going to be rewarding you or punishing you. He's either going to be blessing you or stressing you. He's either going to be giving you your grade or testing you, one or the other. But you know, either way, no matter what you're doing, no matter where you go, he is going to be there. So that is the only relationship that is the priority. And let's clarify something about priority. When people say you don't have your priorities in order, there is no such thing as why is priorities even being put in plural? Priority is the thing you value the most. There is only one thing that can be the priority. There's no such thing as priorities. There is the priority. There is a priority. That's it. Priority is in a class of its own. There aren't multiple priorities. You can't put everything first. You got to put one thing first, and that thing is the priority. And that's how you have to view your relationship with God. Your relationship with God has to be such a priority that you immediately eliminate people that don't fit into that. All these other things, business and personal and all these other different connections that we make, if a person does not understand that their relationship with God is the most important one, that person can't be around me. Somebody was talking about witches, so I was talking about it. Doc BOA, man, if y'all don't know who Doc BOA is, y'all go subscribe to his channel, man, Book of Alpha. But he was discussing witches and the wickedness of it. And someone in his comments said, well, I ain't worried about no witchcraft. God gonna protect me. And they said, stop with the fear mongering. When you use the term fear mongering, if you feel like I'm fear mongering, it's because it's bringing you fear. Probably got a witch in your life at that point. But is God with you if you hold on to someone who shows you that that's who they are? When you lack discernment, how can you profess that God is with you? You have not obeyed him. And when you disobey, you can't rely on God to hold you down if you're disobedient. You can't rely on God to protect you if you're not honoring his word, if you're not listening to his guidance, if you're not following God. You can't say that God's going to protect me anyway, no matter what I do. You always hear people saying, God protect babies and fools. Show me where he protect the fool at. That's why we have to focus so much. We have to focus so much on dedicating ourselves to the process of our own progress, because people will, if you focus on the result, people will sell you dreams about the result. People will sell you information that's not even realistic about the result. If you focus on the process, then you look at those people and you require them to give you input. If you listen to any foolishness about the result, then that person can sell you result without contributing to the process. And if you're not contributing to the process, you don't care about the result. If you're not trying everything in your power to build your relationship with God, you don't care if God punishes you. If you're not trying to protect your life from the wickedness of people who shouldn't be in your life, you don't care how they affect your life. If you're not eating right and drinking your water and doing all the things you need to do physically to stay in shape, you don't care about being in shape. If you're not managing your money correctly and not blowing money frivolously and doing everything in your power to make as much as you can and save it and stack it and do all of these things, you don't care about being financially destitute. You only care about the things that you dedicate yourself to fixing, preparing, attaining, and maintaining. And that's why when it's time to let people go, you let them go, because the number one thing you got to protect is your peace. No one person is more valuable than the process of the progress. The only one who is absolutely necessary for you to progress is you. You're the only one. You're the only one who can. There is no, you're not interchangeable. You're not expendable. In your life, you're the most important thing, because without you, there is no your life. So you got to be letting those people go. Stop acting like people are so valuable that your life is going to be bad if they go. The only person you can say that about is someone who's been there since the beginning. I understand if you're young and you say that about your parents. I understand if you say that about your sibling who was already there looking out for you. But even with that, you get to a certain point in life where you realize your parents are not necessary anymore for the process of your progress. Only you are. Up to a certain point, they are very necessary. Without them doing their due diligence, then you will have an uphill battle to even find what the process of your progress is. But once you find it and you're on it, you realize that no one else is important in that situation. And when it comes to me or you, it's going to be you every time. If somebody got to go, it ain't going to be me. If somebody got to go slow, it ain't going to be me. If somebody got to hit the flow or hit the dough, it ain't going to be me. It's going to be you. The moment you choose somebody else over yourself, you give up on yourself. You start to prioritize someone else over you. If you prioritize someone else, then you prioritize their relationship with God or their lack of. If I put somebody else before me, I'm putting them before God too. Because if I put them in front of me, they're interfering with my connection with God. Don't y'all understand the simple thing of connectivity? Here's connectivity right here. This is connectivity, right? If I don't put my hand on this, there's nothing I can do with it. I can sit there and look at it all day. I can talk to Siri. Here's what I can do. Siri, now, my phone just went and Siri tried to talk to me. You see what I mean? That's the only way that goes. Siri just tried to talk to me. And I just want y'all to understand that as men, we have to understand it is our job. You can't protect your family until you can protect yourself. You can't provide for your family until you can provide for yourself. And the first thing you learn along the way as you become a fully functioning man is that you have to know how to cut people off. You have to know how to cut people off. It's not even about knowing how, it's about having the intestinal fortitude to do it. You around here trying to hold on to people that's trying to get out of your life. Let me tell you something. If people cross certain lines, they want to be out of your life. If people do certain things and say certain things, they want to be out of your life. And once they realize that you don't have the intestinal fortitude or the gumption to push them out of your life, they will start to affect your life in a negative manner. Anybody who feels like you need them in your life, they will start. If you need them, they understand you can't impede them. And so what they will do, they will impede on the process of your progress. Put a 1 in the chat if you have ever in your life allowed someone to make you focus your energy on their goals, to make you focus your energy on their dreams, to make you focus your energy on their process of progress. Now, I'm going to say something right now that's going to hurt a lot of feelings. If you have a regular job, put a 1 in the chat. This isn't bad. It isn't good. It's just true. If you have a regular job, put a 1 in the chat. Now, if you plan to keep that job forever, put a 2 in the chat. If your job is what you plan to do forever and retire when you 62 or 65 or whenever, put a 2 in the chat. Now, the 2s in the chat are the people who have dedicated themselves their entire life to being dedicated to the process of someone else's progress. Now, if the benefits of that are great enough, there's no problem with that. But if that leaves you wanting more every single day, it leaves you wanting more. If you're not even excited about getting up, going to work, if you're not motivated every day about doing the job, if you don't feel like this is the best, this is how you plan your life to be, and then you got to do some soul searching and ask yourself, why are you dedicated to the process of someone else's progress? Now, if the level you're at, now let's do an example now, because I don't want people to really get offended by what I'm saying the wrong way. Let's say if you're at a Fortune 500 company, you're an executive level, that's nothing to, you don't have to say, well, I'm gonna, man, you know what? I want to own the company. Man, if your compensation and all of that is where you want it to be, if it's even further than you could have ever imagined, don't take this as a negative attack on you. But if you hate what you're doing and you're not properly compensated for what you're doing, and you're not respected and appreciated for what you're doing, and you can't even enjoy peace in the workplace, and you got a disrespectful supervisor, or the owner is disrespectful, or whoever the higher up is over you is disrespectful, then ask yourself, why are you doing what you're doing? Figure out a way to dedicate yourself to the process of your own progress. And listen, brothers, the job is just an example. That's just one example. What about peace in your household? How many of you right now have a woman in your household who is bringing you number turmoil? Whatever you do is never enough. Whatever you say is never enough. You have adjusted who you are and changed who you are, and she's still not happy. You have did everything in your power to pacify her, but she can't be pacified. She's like trying to give a baby a pacifier when the baby got a wet diaper on and the baby hungry. The baby gonna spit the pacifier out. You got to feed the baby and change the baby. Then the baby take the pacifier and go right to sleep. Might go to sleep without the pacifier. And you still there trying to make it work. You are dedicated to the process of her progress with the lifestyle that she has fantasized about, with the lifestyle that she has dreamt of. You are dedicated yourself to the woman instead of the God. Notice I said the God, not a God. God would never tell you to dedicate the process of your progress to that. God would never tell you to dedicate the process of your progress to something that's not giving you peace. God would never tell you to let somebody into your life and all they doing is destroying your peace of mind. All they doing is destroying everything that you built. All they doing is bringing negative energy. All they doing is changing up and rearranging everything that you focused on. God didn't tell you to do that. God told you not to do that. And you looked at God and said, well, God, I'm going to do what I want to do. You don't tell me what to do. And at that moment right there, let me tell you what you did. At that moment, you looked at God and you said, God, you don't come first. She come first. He come first. They come first. And at that moment, you decided that you were going to hold on to people who were detrimental to your life when God was trying to move them out. And let me tell you something about God, man. He's a merciful God. He's a dutiful God. If he say he going to do it, he going to do it. But he ain't going to force you to listen. He ain't going to force you to follow. He ain't going to force you to heed his word, and he ain't going to force you to be obedient. He going to wait for you to be disobedient and punish you for your disobedience. That's why we call him God the Father. That's why. Yes, spiritual father, but he will use that spiritual connection to spank your behind physically. And you don't want that in your life. You don't want to be living a life where you receiving spankings when you knew better. Boy, let me tell you something. The worst thing that could ever happen to you is to be punished for something you knew you shouldn't have been doing. It's one thing to do something and not know it's wrong, but to do something, look at it, know it's wrong, and do it anyway, and then receive your punishment, and then you know what you're doing. Now you're begging and crying and pleading to God now. What you begging and crying and pleading for now? He tried to get them people out your life. He told you them people wasn't good for you. He showed you them people wasn't good for you. You dreamt things that them people wasn't good for you. You looked at your life changing for the worse. Them people showed you they wasn't good for you. You know what you did? Instead of letting them out of your life, you chased them down. She left your life and you went and got her and brought her back. They left your life and you went and begged them to come back into it. You paid them to come back into it. You took a loss to bring them back into your life. But that's why if you focus on the process of your progress, then you never have to worry about those things because you focus on the process. Now remember, listen what I say now. The master word is process. You got to focus on the process of your progress. Don't focus on the progress, focus on the process because the process takes daily steps. See, tomorrow, I know what I got to do tomorrow in the process, and today is here now. I'm working on today, but I know what I got to do tomorrow. I know what I got to do next Thursday. I know what I got to do on January 15th, 2025, 2028. I know what I got to do. I know what I got to do. Every day I got to wake up and focus on the process of my progress. I don't have time for anyone else's energy. I don't have time for anyone else's complaints. Man, I don't even have time for anyone else's prayers. All I have time for is the process of my progress. And then when I'm doing the things that I need to do in my life, then I have time for other people. That's how you prioritize yourself. That's how you make sure that you remember that you can't be emotional and progressive at the same time. Progress and emotion don't function together. You cannot use emotion to progress. You have to use logic. You have to use wisdom, understanding, and knowledge to progress. Emotionality has no wisdom. Emotionality has no understanding. Emotionality has no knowledge. Emotionality has no logic. Emotion will make you give up on the process of your progress. I want you to put a 1 in the chat right now for me, man. Put a 1 in the chat. Matter of fact, put a 0 in the chat. Because you kept that 0 instead of being a hero. Put a 0 in the chat if you have ever had somebody in your life who started draining your energy from day one and you kept them around anyway. I'm talking about from day one. That includes if you were in a relationship that was bad in the beginning. You know how many times I heard people say, we couldn't get along in the beginning. I look at them like, now, y'all don't get along right now. Both of y'all just pacified each other so much. Y'all ain't getting along right now. I'm talking about from day one. Man, you knew they shouldn't have been in your life. The instantaneously your life started to be affected in a negative manner. But let me tell you what happens. You so focused on connecting with the person. You so focused on the good feeling. You so focused on whatever it is you're getting from the person that you don't even see the small things happening. But what happens when the small things happen? When there's a small crack in something, you can't even tell it. Then the crack gets a little bit bigger. You can't even tell it. You can't tell the crack until it starts leaking. By that point, it's in a state of disrepair. It can't even be fixed. People come into your life and they automatically come with the number one roadblock to the process of your progress. The number one roadblock to the process of your progress is emotional attachment. When you attach yourself to someone emotionally, that feeling that you have for them controls you. It controls you. That's why you must have a spiritual connection to the Most High. You can't just say, "Oh, I believe in God." No, you can't. I repent. You can't. I go to church. None of that matters. You have to be connected to God. That's the only thing that can protect you from emotional attachment. I don't care what anyone does in my life. I will not become emotionally attached to them. The moment I become emotionally attached, I realize that no, God has not abandoned me. I have abandoned God. See, we look all the time and we say, God left me. God abandoned me. God didn't abandon you. You abandoned God. You abandoned the word of God. You abandoned your understanding of the Most High. You abandoned your obedience. You abandoned your appreciation. You abandoned the humbleness that you know that you need God to make moves in life. He didn't abandon you. He gave you enough rope, and you know what you did? Hangman. That's what you did. See, we got to stop blaming God for responding to our abandonment. If you live in a life you're supposed to live, God don't abandon you. If you're doing what you're supposed to do, God don't abandon you. Hell, sometime when you ain't even doing everything you're supposed to do, you know how far down the rabbit hole you got to go before God say, I'm going to let you go down there and figure it out on your own. Boy, you got to go way down the rabbit hole. God is merciful. He does not give up on you when you make minor mistakes and have minor setbacks. When God gives up on you, it's because you have totally abandoned your connection to God. And the only time you ever do that is when you become emotionally attached to someone. And now, isn't it ironic that the only time you can't let somebody go in due time is when you're emotionally attached to them? That's the only time. Emotional attachment, and I want y'all to listen, because this is going to rock your world right here, brothers. This is going to rock your world. Emotional attachment to a person is stronger than a spiritual connection to God. It's stronger. Why is it stronger? Because God will not let you connect to him if you are emotionally attached to a person. because we are human. In this form, we are more human. We are more physical than we are spiritual. We are more emotional than we are spiritual. We are more mental than we are spiritual. We are certainly more physical than we are spiritual. So what happens? That emotional attachment, you don't have to have no faith. See, to deal with God, we got to have faith. It takes faith. It takes belief in things unseen. In order to have a strong connection to God, you got to believe things that you can't see all the time. That's the hard way. You got to be focused on that. With people, the emotional attachment, you get to see it, you get to feel it, you get to touch it, you get to hear it, you get to smell it every single day. So too much of the human experience destroys your spiritual experience. You can't do both. You can't do both. When God tells you to when a man separates himself unto the ways of God, he takes a vow of the Nazarite. You notice when a man separates himself, separation is elevation. Why? Because you have to detach from the human experience, from the human physical experience in order to even develop a spiritual connection. You got to detach from it, man. Your spiritual connection with God will never cause you pain. Your emotional attachment to people will only cause you pain. Human nature is human nature. We're humans. You know they say we on average we use about 10% of our brain, right? You get geniuses who start to use 14, 15% of our brain, but none of us use 50% of our brain. If we use 50% of our brain, man, we would be able to do, man, bro, listen, we'd be doing levitation and we'd be able to transport ourselves. We'd be doing teleportation and all of that, man. We'd be doing all kind of things if we use 50% of our brain. But we roughly only use about 10% of our brain. The majority of us only use about 10% of our spirituality, right? How many people have you met who only call on God when they're in trouble? Or they only talk to God when things go really good? Like they give God thanks when something goes really good. But a lot of times they do that just because that's what they've been taught to do. They live their lives in terribly foul ways and then they thank God when something happened, like that thing came from God. But I want y'all to understand something. It's our job to start using a higher percentage of our spiritual man. When you use a higher percentage of your spirituality, things change. That's why the statutes and commandments are there. The statutes and commandments ain't there. You're not going to die if you eat pork. You're not going to die tomorrow. It's people that ate sausage biscuit this morning. They ain't dead. It's people that been eating a sausage biscuit every morning for 20 years. They ain't dead. Right? It's people that been living a foul life every day for 20 years. They ain't dead. You're not going to die immediately. But those things will keep you. It will defile your body. And what happens when your body is defiled, God will not connect with a defiled body. And so you have to make these adjustments to your physical man in order to even be able to connect spiritually with God. And many people can't do it. Why? Because they're in love. Because someone else controls them. You know how disrespectful it is for you to let somebody else control you. Whoever controls you, you have made them your God. What does God say? Thou shalt have no other God before me, which means you shall not worship anyone before me. You shall not hold anybody in higher regard than me. You shall not follow anyone more than you follow me. You shall not dedicate yourself to anyone more than me. What do you do when you fall in love with somebody? What do you do? I want y'all to put a flame in the chat. Put that fire symbol in the chat right now. If you have ever allowed someone to pull you away from what you knew God wanted you to do in order to do what they wanted you to do. If you have ever looked at a situation, knew what God wanted you to do, and did the opposite because of your attachment to a person. The opposite. I'm talking about went absolutely against the Most High, bro. You looked at it and you said, I'm going to do the opposite. I know what God want me to do, but they want me to do something else. Matter of fact, you told God himself, God, I know what you want me to do, but they want me to do something else. And then you know what you do? You find something in the scripture to justify it. Well, God, you said I'm supposed to love my wife like Christ loved the church. That's what you said. He sacrificed his life. I'm just doing this. This what you told me to do. You said a man shall leave his mother and father and cleave unto his wife, and they shall become one flesh. That's what you told me to do. And now I want you to take some time and think about how merciful God is. Because no matter what punishment you received, you still here. Still here, able to improve spiritually, able to become the spiritual man that God put you here to be. I want you to think about the mercy of God right then. And now I want you to think about how much you owe God to never cross that line again. How much you owe God to constantly respect him. Whenever you think about crossing that line, you think about how merciful God was, because he could have took you out that thing. At any given time, man, God can just take a hand off you and let the world have you. He can let the wolves of the world have you. So I want you to think about that. Every time you think about crossing that line, I want you to think about the last time you crossed it and God forgave you. Don't you think God no fool? Don't you think you going to say, well, he forgave me last time, he going to forgive me again? I want you to give God enough credit to say, God, I thank you for forgiving me for being a fool for a person that's going to kick the bucket the same way I'm going to kick the bucket. A person that if I hit rock bottom, they can't do nothing for me. A person that if I get sick, they can't do nothing for me. A person that when I need guidance, they can't do nothing for me. A person that when I need peace, they can't do nothing for me. A person who I can't even rely on to be here for me tomorrow. A person who I can't even rely on to give me water if I was perishing from thirst. A person who I can't even rely on for anything. I'm just convincing myself that I can. You convince yourself that a person is reliable. No, God is reliable. You convince yourself that a person is dependable. No, God is dependable. You convince yourself that a person can be trusted. No, God can be trusted. You convince yourself that a person wouldn't lie to you. No, God wouldn't lie to you. You convince yourself that a person wouldn't bring harm to you. No, God won't bring harm to you. You convince yourself that a person gonna prioritize you over themselves. No, God is gonna prioritize you. God is gonna hold you in high regard. God is gonna bless you. God ain't gonna stress you. God is gonna hold you. God is gonna console you. And we have the audacity to even consider keeping somebody in our life when God tells us, let that person go. When God tells us, I'm here to save you. I'm here to heal you. I'm here to build you. You want to hold on to that person that can't do nothing but thrill you. At what point do we as men stop worrying about what God gonna give us, what God gonna do for us, and start to understand what we owe God? I owe God. You owe God. Man, I owe God. Many times as he's forgiven me, as many times as he's shown me mercy, he's showing me mercy right now. If you think about it right now, you know he's showing you mercy too. You know why he's showing you mercy? Because every day he can always change your mind and say, you know what? I changed my mind. You have done enough dirt for me to abandon you. I owe God. I owe my service. I owe my duty. I owe my dedication. I owe my focus. Fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. If you don't fear God, you're not wise. If you don't fear God, you have no knowledge. If you don't fear God, you have no understanding. And if you don't fear God, you're probably in love with somebody right now that's taking you down through there. You're probably going through something right now, and you're trying to fight it on your own. And then you're trying to evoke God into that thing and say, God, help me in this situation. Help me continue this thing that is destroying me. Let me tell you something, brothers, and I'll tell you this. It could take a whole lot for God to destroy you. But believe me, he will let you destroy yourself. He will let you destroy yourself. Where's the humbleness that we need as men? To know that when you were down and out, when no one else was there, you know God was there for you. When you turn your life around, who led you into turning your life around? You know God was there. When those people got exposed and you developed the discernment to understand who needed to be around you and who didn't, who was there for you? Man, you know God was there for you. When you decided that you was going to be the man you were supposed to be and embrace the true essence of who God put you here to be, man, who showed you that? Man, you know God was there for you. Now it's time for you to be there for God. It's time for me to be there for God. It's time for me to root out the people in my life who don't want to be there for God. It's time for you to root out the people in your life who don't want to be there for God. It's time for me and you to root out the people in our lives who would prefer us to follow them than to follow God, who would prefer us to do what they want as opposed to doing what God wants. Man, there are people around you who don't care how you do it. They just want you to do what benefits them in their life. Do you know how lost a person is to not understand that everything you need comes from your dedication to God? They would rather get the little bit they could get from you if you focus on them than to be attached to a person that's constantly being blessed because that man is focused on God. The life of constant blessing belongs to the man who is constantly focused on God. The life of constant peace of mind belongs to the man who is constantly focused on God. The life of no stress, the life of no mess, the life of no boo-boo test comes to the man who is constantly devoted and dedicated to his relationship with God. And that's all this whole thing is about, man. We let the expectations of people, we let the expectations of society, we let the pressures of social media, we let all the things outside of God dictate to us who we going to be and how we going to live. And the crazy thing is, the real crime in all of this is if you're even focused on society's expectations, you don't know God. If you're even focused on social media propaganda and what they expect you to do and what's popular to do, you don't even know God. If you even focused on what somebody else wants you to do to benefit their life, man, you don't even know God. Because let me tell you the greatest curse, brothers, and I want y'all to understand this. The greatest curse is to not be able to even connect with the wisdom, understanding, and knowledge that comes from God. To wake up one day and realize you don't have it, imagine that. Imagine waking up one day and not even knowing God, bro. Imagine waking up one day and not even knowing your way to peace of mind, not even knowing your way to wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. All the other things you could have in the world are, man, they're peas in a pod when you compare it to your relationship with God. Because all of those things can be granted to you through constantly building, maintaining your relationship with God. Brothers, and it's so easy to do it. All we have to do is live the way God wants us to live. It's not even hard to do. It's not even hard to do. The dietary laws aren't hard. They aren't hard. Honoring the Sabbath day is not hard. It's not hard to say, okay, if my job won't let me honor the Sabbath day, I need to change up. Because whatever you think you losing from that job, man, God will bless you. Let me tell y'all something, man. I had a chick, man, and I was telling her, I said, look, if you're going to deal with me, you're going to honor the Sabbath day. You're going to have to. She was about to go to work that day when I told her that. She was about to go. She was about to go to work. You know what I'm saying? I mean, she had her own job, work for herself. She was her own boss. I mean, when I met her, she was her own boss. Of course, I became her boss, but she was about to go. I said, look, you do that. I mean, you can't be with me if you're going to do that. You know what I'm saying? I can't deal with you at all. Brothers, I promise you, she didn't do it. But 30 minutes later, she called me and told me that some money just found her. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody literally just, I won't go into detail about the situation, but I mean, it was on the up and up. Some money just found her. Someone literally just gifted her with some money, bro. Double what she was going to make. See, so I get out of God's way. It's my job to tell people that, hey, if you don't do this, I honor God. If you're going to be around me, you got to honor God too. You got to. And the people who are meant to do it, God shows them. It's not my job to show you. It's my job to tell you. It's job's God to sell you. It's God. If you open up your spirit just a little bit, God gonna show you what I'm telling you. He gonna back me up. So even if God gonna back me, bro, that wasn't no benefit to me. That was benefit to her. But if God gonna back me up on something, bro, just imagine the power of you telling somebody, okay, God wants you to do this. And they have doubts, but they don't do it. And immediately God blesses them for doing it. That is the power of being able to be a connection to the world for God. Do you know how great it is for me to be a connection to the world for God to be able to use me to speak life into the world, to speak spiritual positivity into the world, to speak spiritual strength and spiritual power into the world, to simply speak the word of God into the world and let God do the rest. That's all I got to do. Man, he don't want me to do none of the other stuff. I ain't got to prove nothing to nobody. I ain't got to show nothing to nobody. I ain't got to convince nobody in there. All I got to do is give them the word. All I got to do is give them the word, brothers. Now, of course, I got to be living by that word while I'm giving it. But all I got to do is give it. That's my whole mission in the world. I don't care what nobody else accomplished. You can be worth $500 million, but you don't get the peace and satisfaction and the emotional, spiritual compensation that I get when I know God has just used me. Do you know what kind of high regard God holds you in when he uses you? God holds you in high spiritual regard if he uses you. You'll rather let people use you. People use you when they don't hold you in high regard. God uses you when he holds you in high regard, man. Bro, listen, I get blessings all the time, but there is no greater blessing than for me to tell somebody that I roll with God and tell them, you better roll with God. And they say, you know what? You were right about rolling with God. Boy, I'm blessed, man. I am blessed, brothers. I am too blessed to be stressed and involved in somebody's emotional attachment mess. I won't do it. There ain't no emotional attachment coming my way. I ain't going to do it. I will never attach myself to nobody emotionally. I can't do it. I can't do it, brothers. I am too happy. I am too satisfied. I'm too pleased. I'm too blessed. I'm too humbled by the way God uses me in this world, brothers. I'm too humble, man. I mean, it's, and I think that the thing is that we have to understand is, man, self-discipline is the greatest gift we can give God. Following the word of God is simply self-discipline. Self-discipline is the greatest gift that you and I could give God. We can give God a gift, our appreciation. our dedication. And that comes in the form of self-discipline. That comes in the form of doing the things we need to do. It comes in the form of, man, listen, God is merciful. God, if you got a job and you didn't know anything about this, if you learned the word and learned about honoring the Sabbath day and you got a job that you can't do that, man, God is merciful. God judges us by our hearts and our mind. If he knows your mind is attached to your spirit and you want to live a certain way, he's going to give you the path to go that direction. What God doesn't want to do is waste his time giving you the path to a direction or giving you the path to a solution. And he can't count on you for execution. If you're not going to execute the move, then God feels disrespected for giving you the move. If you're not going to follow the path, then God feels disrespected for giving you the map. Because you lied. You said that you were going to follow the path. You said you were ready to change and dedicate yourself to God. You said you were ready to forego that emotional attachment and get with your spiritual connection. You said you were ready to let them people out of your life when God was showing you they didn't belong. You said you was ready to have some peace of mind after living in such turmoil. You said you was ready to reap the benefits of having a relationship with God instead of reaping the detriment of having those emotional attachment to people. You said you were ready. You cried and you prayed when things were bad. You said you were going to do better. All you needed was one chance to get right. You weren't going to ever do it again. You were going to cut these people loose. If God get you out of this situation, you ain't going to never go back to it. And look at you right now. Right back in that situation. Right back in that situation. Man, let me tell you something. If you keep taking L's, your life going to be a living hell. But if you want to get some dubs, you got to open yourself up to God's love, man. You keep looking for the love of people. Open up your spirit to the love of God. When you open up your spirit to the love of God, brother, you don't need the love of people. Like, you just don't need the love of people. Like, I don't need people's love. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't even value people's love. Like, the people around me, man, they talking about that love, man, I don't value that. I don't care if you love me. I have a spiritual connection with God. I'm experiencing God's love. You know what God's love is? It's trustworthy. You know what God's word never does? It never lets me down. You know what God's love never does? It never takes advantage of me. You know what God's love never does? It never lies to me. You know what God's love never does? It never drains my energy. Once you experience God's love, you don't even want people's love anymore. You understand how lacking it is. You understand how lacking it is. And let me tell you the greatest gift that I've gotten from God when it comes to loving people. When I realized that I could just give all my love to God and he would distribute it to the people who deserve it. Everybody who needs, everybody who deserves to feel like I love them, they feel it. I don't never tell them. I don't never say it. Bro, I never say it. Because the thing is not when you say it to people. I'm not saying I don't love people, but I don't have an emotional attachment to people. Well, humans who don't have an attachment to God, who don't have a connection to God, when you tell them you love them, they take that as emotional attachment. So they expect you to perform for them the way the people that have emotional attachment to them perform. They expect you to sacrifice for them the way the people who have emotional attachment to them sacrifice. They expect you to be dedicated to them the way the people who have emotional attachment to them are dedicated to them. So I don't even tell people I love you because I know what their expectation is. I just do what I do because I know that God is going to give them whatever they need to feel from me. I'm going to let God handle it because I don't want to even play the emotional attachment games. And you know what? God is perfect at handling it because everybody who needs to feel like and deserves to feel like I love them, they feel it. And you know, all it is a feeling. When it comes to love, emotional attachment, all people need to do is feel it. It don't even matter if it's there. They just need to feel it. Emotionality is a perception-based reality. You understand? It's based on perception. It's not even real. That's why it changes so much. That's why it can alter so much. That's why I can be here today and gone tomorrow. So I give all of that to God. I let God do his job. I don't get in God's way. I believe that God can do his job better than I can. So why am I going to get in his way? I won't. I won't ever get in his way. I won't do it. I see my brother GC in here, my brother SJ3 in the building, man. Salute to the brothers, man. Represent. Appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate it. Logic before emotion. Appreciate the dying. Faith without work is dead. Yeah, it is, brother. It is 100%. And he gave a shout out to the Mod Squad. I appreciate y'all brothers being in here, man. Hey, man, we had a phenomenal show, man. This is a phenomenal show this morning, brothers. I ain't gonna even lie to you, man. Carl, appreciate the 2 bone. Thanks for the truth. Salute to you, brother. Thanks for you being in the joint, man. I appreciate it. Herring, always supporting, man. Salute to you, brother. Like King Ray Ray said, if they causing you turmoil, it's time to let them go because they destroying your peace. I'm solo locked in with God. HOB. Hunters of blessings, man. Yeah, listen, brothers. I want y'all to understand that you got to be locked in, man. You got to be locked in with God because people will pull you away from God for their own benefit. When people see you dedicated to God, they know they can't use you. The majority of people just want somebody to use. And if you're emotionally attached to someone, you're being used by them. Tevin Custis, appreciate 20 bones, man. I talk about God working my life to people without a relationship with God, not to brag, but to show them a better route. I told someone what God did for me, and their aura and body language showing me they were not interested. Man, it happens all the time. Yeah, man, listen, I've had someone tell me, man, I'm not finna get the glory of my accomplishment to some invisible magic man in the sky. Bro, I didn't get angry. I never get angry at people. I just was like, man, you so lost. I was like, bro, not only did you think it, you said it out loud. You know how lost you got to be to say that out loud, bro? SJ3, my brother, appreciate the dub, man. Salute King Ray Ray, the realest of the real. Salute to you, my brother, man. OG, my OG partner, man. SJ3, man. Man, SJ3, man. We go back like 8 tracks and stacks, old school Cadillacs, man. I ain't lying. Guns After Work. Salute to you, bro. Appreciate the 5 bone, man. That's a tough name too, man. Guns After Work. That's a tough name, bro. So listen, man. Here's what I want y'all to understand, man. I want y'all to understand that we have to take ourselves seriously because we're all we got. You're all you got. And in order to protect that and get the most out of that, you got to be connected with God, dog. You got to be connected with God because every moment you spend in emotional attachment to a person, your relationship with God is faltering. It's not growing. It's not going. You're not building that trust relationship with God. Man, listen, you can say what you want to say, but God, your relationship with God builds over trust. Over time, God realizes he can trust you. That's why when Satan wanted to test Job, he went to God and he asked him, and God told him, "No, man, Job ain't gonna ever cross me out. I don't care what you do to Job, he ain't gonna cross me out." And Satan kept saying, "Well, let me do this to him." Job didn't cross him out. I bet if I do this to him, Job didn't cross him out. Oh, I bet if I do this to him, Job didn't cross him out. You know why? Because Job had built that respect from God. It's your job to build that respect. Stop trying to have God do things for you based on mercy. Like we got to stop trying to use God for his mercy. When you need God's mercy, it's because you always messing up. You always crossing God. You want God to deal with you from respect. You want God to deal with you from expectation. You want God to be surprised if you fall to the wayside. You don't want God to look at you and say, "Oh, boy, here you go again. Here you go again, done messed up again. Here you go again, done crossed the line again. Here you go again, done been somebody fool again. Here you go again, done abandoned me to get emotionally attached to somebody again. Here you go again, done stop honoring the word again. Here you go again, done start doubting me again." Man, you don't want God to keep dealing with you from that perspective. You don't want God to keep looking at you like you're a problem child. You want God to look at you and say, "Now this is my son, my man of God son, in whom I am well pleased." That's the goal. The goal is to be reliable and dependable. At that point, God will start to use you. And when God starts to use you, brother, it motivates you to live your life the way you're supposed to more. It motivates you to let those people out of your life who don't belong. It motivates you to guard the doorway to your life, and so them people never get in because you start to view your life as the one most important thing you view your life as. You start to view your life as a place where spiritually astute people belong. Not pretty people, not rich people, not popular people, not any of that. Spiritually astute people. And let me tell you something, brothers. Everybody that's spiritually astute don't run around and beat their chest, man, talking about the word of God. Some of the best people I know, they're just good. Spiritually, they're just good-natured people. Their nature is to be good. Help anybody, do anything for anybody, never upset, never angry, just laid back, peaceful. The number one sign that someone is connected to God is peace of mind. Peace of mind is priceless. It's priceless. No one can tell you how to get it. It's adviceless. But when you get it, all you draw is other people with peace of mind. If you're drawing people that don't have peace of mind, you need to separate yourself from everybody and look at your life again, because there's something you're not doing. When I talked about Job, you remember Satan had to get permission to even bother Job, because Job didn't live a life that invited evil into it. Your job is to not live a life that invites evil into it. That way, Satan has to get permission to even test you, to even tempt you, to even get close enough to you to affect you. That's the life we want to live. I want God to look at me and say, BOA is my servant. King Ray Ray is my servant. Dean is my servant. He is a godly man above all others around him. And I would deal with him as such. That's what I want, brothers. That's what we all should want. Because there's no more blessed life than that. GC, appreciate you, brother. Appreciate it. Big bro, King Ray Ray, salute to you, brother. I appreciate you, brother. Really, I do. I appreciate it, man. So listen, brothers, we're going to go ahead and get ready to slide out of here, man. And I got another one that I might do later on. I ain't making no promises, but I might do another one later on. I'll see how the spirit moved me, man. This one right here, this was a great one, bro. This was a phenomenal show. I appreciate y'all being in here, man. Listen, brothers, when I say put God first, I mean it. It's not just a saying. Put God first. It is not just a saying, bro. It's not. It is me telling you what you already know. If you want everything in your life to grow, you got to dedicate yourself to your relationship with God. You have to. And it has to become a connection to God. Otherwise, you run the risk of not even being able to let people go in due time. Peace, brothers.